If y'all can see this, but welcome to the Hoops Rehab Show on a Friday night. It's a late night edition, but if y'all can see this right now on the pod, my man Eric B. Mack has a broom.
Oh, what's up? What's going on? Happy Friday. Doing, just good. Just doing some dusting, some sweeping over here, especially after watching the Pacers go up 2-0 in New York. Pretty crazy to see.
Yeah. All right. So as always, everybody, I am the Game Injury Doc, aka Dr. Evan Jeffries. On my right is Eric B. Mack. You can follow us at all platforms at our handles here. We also have the Hoops Rehab Show on the YouTube page and Instagram. And however you download your pods, we're on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere to be known. It's the Hoops Rehab Show. So please download, rate, and comment. That would be great. But Eric, let's get it cracking, man. What happened? What are the streets of New York saying tonight?
I think as we talked about, game one was probably somber. Tonight has got to be anger, because you lose game one and just kind of choking, heartbreaking fashion, and so that's what happens sometimes. Like you really should have won, you lost. A lot of times that home team or whoever has home field advantage or home court advantage, goes and wins game two. But man, Indiana they're on a mission right now, and they've really been playing like this the whole playoffs. And so definitely a tough spot for the Knicks and all of New York tonight. That is for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, after game one, I wasn't sure the psyche of the Knicks and how they would respond. And I was worried that might have just taken so much out of them. I didn't know how they would come back in game two. And you would think you would know what type of team this is if they came out and just dominated the game and made sure they get the win. And from the get-go, the Pacers were in this game. They were taking advantage of this game. And when you got to that fourth quarter, they really just said, no, we're going to take over. And Pascal Siakam, who's, as consistent of a player as it gets, especially in these playoffs, he just, you're going to get 17 to 25-ish all the time. But he went out there and got, 30, what do you have, 39, right?
Yeah.
So 39 big points in a game two on the road. And this is the third round that the Pacers have started off 2-0 in each
remarkable
rounds, right? In the last round was against Boston, right? So they are just Cleveland. So they are just definitely handling their business.
Yeah, obviously Pascal Siakam, he's been pretty much Mr. Consistency. He's been, he's obviously a champion. He's real good player. Not a superstar by any means, but definitely, all-star quality player. And so, you had to figure there's going to be one, big Siakam game, and what better way to have it in game two. He obviously wasn't feeling like game one, and a game one victory was going to be enough. He carried Indiana today. It was a team effort for sure. They're playing a bunch of guys. They were deep as always, but I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just like seven guys. We see it often. Seven guys, can get you through the first couple of rounds, but I don't know, maybe getting a little tired. Look, it was a close game throughout. It could have been anyone's game, and I would have liked to see New York and come and take it early, but onto the road, I guess, where they've been better. They've been better on the road than at home, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing this series.
Yeah, so the Knicks are 5-1 on the road, right? So that is, if you're going to look at anything that's encouraging, that would be the main thing, right? So they've been playing better on the road. They're 3-5 at home, right? So that gives you, at least if you're a Knicks fan, you're kind of looking at some sign of, hey, can they actually come back in the series? They are still technically the home team, right? But the Pacers have been showing this whole playoffs that they are, I mean, at this point, the team to beat. You know, they took out the number 1 seed, right, in Cleveland. You know, the Milwaukee Bucks were obviously got injured and had Damian Lillard go out, but still took out Giannis in the first round. So all the stuff that they're doing right now is indicating that they are a top-notch team. And obviously we talked about not underestimating this team. And I don't think the Knicks are actually have done that. But overall, as the public looking at this team, you're like, no way this team can continue to do what they're doing. But it looks like they're 2 games away from the finals at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before. So you're just to be down 0-2 is tough. You know, 34 out of 463 have come back. It's like a total of 7%, and 5 of those 34 have been down 0-2 with losing the 2 home games. You know, and so you know, statistically, they're things are not on their side. And not only that, it's just, I mean, it's just what Indiana's doing. And so, you know, we'll talk a little bit later about if we think the Knicks are done or not. But, you know, as far as the game goes, I mean, again, I think Knicks for the most part kind of played well enough to win. And a little stretch in the fourth really hurt them. And, you know, give it up to them. They did come back there at the end a little bit. They were down by 8 or 9, and I thought, hey, maybe it was their turn to come back on Indiana, and they did bring it down to 3. Brunson hit some good big shots, and then he shot a 3-pointer from kind of deep and just missed it. And so it's just how it goes sometimes. But yeah, it's looking pretty tough right now for the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, like what Jalen Brunson had 36, so he can't do much more than what, and he had 42 in the game 1. So he's doing his part. They are running into, well, yeah, we talked about that. If my man OG does not get 20, then the Knicks are, I mean, when he does get 20, they obviously are like 6-0, right? So if that's been our stat from the get-go, and we need him to at least get that 20-point game so we can kind of see a Knicks win. But overall, when you're looking at their team, they're doing everything okay. It's just they're running into a buzzsaw with Indiana.
Yeah, they really are.
And you know, like Tyrese Halliburton really didn't have a good first half, right? But really got it going in the second half. And I think that's where he made all 3 of his threes, and then also had 11 assists. So he's playmaking, right? And you know that's what you're going to get from him. He's going to have games where he kind of goes off, but for the most part, he's always going to be that type of player that makes plays and gets his team involved. Right, and that was Siakam getting heavily involved in this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the scoring. You know, 114-109. We know last game went to overtime was definitely high scoring, and we talked about it. How if the game is in this kind of range, it's going to favor Indiana. It's what they do. They score. They play that run and gun style, and they're comfortable having a game above 110. And I think so. I don't know. I mean, obviously we know Karl Anthony Towns, he was benched for a lot of the fourth quarter there. And coach must have probably thought the same in terms of like from a defensive standpoint, maybe playing Mitchell Robinson a little more. He kind of hurt them offensively. Like really, they actually went to the foul game, Indiana, there actually in the fourth. And that, he was missing his free throws again. And so that really kind of slowed things down for the Knicks, I noticed as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you make of that? I mean, he played 28 minutes in a big game 2 that you need. And that's your second best player, Karl Anthony Towns. He's your big guy. And what do you make of him getting benched for a good portion of that fourth quarter? I was kind of like perplexed by that, because when he did come into the lineup, they went on like a quick 5-0 run, right? They got the offensive spark, kind of got it going, and kind of cut it down to what I think he got down to 3. So just in general, like I get the defensive purposes. You're trying to bring Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson had a great first half, and made got a lot of offensive rebounds, made a lot of defensive efforts, and what you're getting with Cat on defense.
Yeah.
So it just, to me, that's concerning because moving forward, what's that look like?
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at the stat sheet, right? And you're like, okay, it was Jalen Brunson, we already mentioned earlier with 36. Cat, I mean, he had 20 points, OG 16, Mikal Bridges 20. So you're getting some balance there. And Karl Anthony Towns, yeah, we're obviously going to look at it. He missed a lot of the fourth. And I think it's one of these things where, I mean, Mitchell Robinson has been good. He's been good to them, but he's got to be like a second and third quarter player,
Yeah.
If he's playing big minutes in the fourth, I think it's a bad sign. No disrespect to him because like I said earlier, they're going to play the foul game. He's not going to give him anything offensively. And so I think we probably, I mean, Tips could be a little stubborn, but I don't know if we'll see that again in the fourth. I think you traded for Cat last summer for these moments. You got to have him out there. I mean, he can hit 2 or 3 threes in a row, and close the gap or maybe even extend the lead. And so obviously we're going to hindsight's 2020 in this situation, but I can't see that happening again. He's probably going to be out there for the majority of the fourth going forward.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to need him, right? I mean, they need all the points they can get. In this series, we knew it was going to be kind of more high scoring. This game was a little different, right? So it looked like it favored the Knicks, right? Because it was a little bit slower of a pace, especially in the first half. But I think the Pacers kind of turned it up a notch in the second half. And, they had a 32-point third and 33-point fourth, right? And so that kind of got offensively, they got going, got cooking like what they normally do. And I think at this point in this series, you just have to use as much firepower as possible and just try to outscore them. Like, I don't think anybody's stopping anybody in this series, especially the Knicks stopping the Pacers, even if you have Mitchell Robinson playing a little bit more minutes, right? So I think Cat's got to have, he had a big game in the first game, right? So, I mean, taking him out for that much amount of time, I think was possibly a mistake. I get trying to bring more of a defensive presence, but the lead actually got worse as he was kind of sitting on the bench. So I didn't really understand like why he would keep holding there for another 4 minutes or so, like he did.
Yeah, because if you look at the game, I mean, I'm pretty sure there, like all the way to the fourth, there was nobody that led by more than 4 or 5, and so it's not like they were doing bad with him in there. And, I get it. You're going to give him a blow. But I think once Indiana got it to that 7, 8, 9, where it hadn't been all game, probably should have brought him in a tad earlier. And so Indiana, I think Halliburton said it after the game, they didn't play really well in the first half. And they were like, damn, we're only down by 3 and we played awful. And so that really motivated them, it sounded like, because they're like, we can't play much worse. And as you mentioned, they had a real good second half. But I mean, it was truly anyone's game, and that run, between the 10 to 5 minute mark of the fourth, that was 5 minutes or so. I mean, it was really the difference in the game, and I think leaving him out there a little too long, kind of. I mean, they still had a chance to win at the end, but it really made it that much tougher having Robinson out there so much. Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you really take into consideration the plus minus stat,
I saw that.
Karl Anthony Towns was minus 20, which was the worst out of any player in the game. So if that was anything, that might have been an indication of what Tibbs was kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you were saying, it wasn't like they were being outscored by a lot, right? So even though he was at that minus 20, the game was somewhat close, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I guess it happens sometimes, but just a game that wasn't even. I mean, there was that stretch that they grew the lead and he wasn't even in there. So so sometimes it's like that stat is, I guess, if you look at it overall or like a season, it could mean something. But with one game, I don't know. It just but obviously, coach saw something there.
Yep. Definitely. So what is, I mean, I saw you bring out the broom, right? So I see.
I got to bring out my,
you brought it out again. Oh boy.
No, just do some dusting. It's a little dusty in here. is all.
Okay. So I got a feel or a sense of what you think is going to happen in the series. Now, do you think there's anything the Knicks can do to change the course of this series? Or is it all said, or is it all she wrote?
Well, in terms of like the thought process and mentality is like, sure, like right there. So they're 5-1 on the road. They'd love to get 2, but you got to think of it as like, let's get 1, right? We got to get 1. We got, game 5 back at the crib. We lost the first 2 already. We're not going to lose a third. And so, we're going to get that game 5 and hey, let's push it to 6 and see what happens. And so I think that's going to be the thought process. I hope I see something like that because, this is the end of TNT. This is, obviously the more games we have, the more we get to cover.
Sure.
But, again, we know which 7 guys are going to be out there for the Knicks. I just think it's going to be tough, especially in Indiana. Like if you think it's hard in New York to really slow down that pace, it's going to be even more of a buzzsaw, as you mentioned earlier in game 3 in Indiana. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think other than finishing games off, finishing fourth quarters off systematically, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what they could exactly do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it always boils down to the head of the snake, and to me that's Tyrese Halliburton. So figuring out a way to slow him down in a way to like as far as being a playmaker and scorer, and if you can find a way to just allow your team to either, not that you want to send a double team at him, but you want to make it tough for him, right? You want to create a little bit of chaos, create a little bit of havoc for him, where he has one of those games where he only has, 8 to 10 points and, 6 to 8 assists or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I think that gives you the best case scenario to win. Obviously Pascal Siakam having like a 39-point game is just not what you think is going to usually happen in the game. And so that was a huge benefit for them tonight. But yeah, I think slowing down Tyrese and not allowing him to be the typical playmaker he is would make a huge difference in the series, or at least in game 3.
Yeah, like I think taking away that playmaking ability, if he's scoring a lot of points but only not passing as much, I think that's a big thing too. Kind of like last series with OKC and Denver we talked about. That playmaking is when everybody starts to get involved. So that's something that they could look at too.
Yeah, definitely. And I still think the Knicks have a chance in this series. And seeing how they played throughout this playoffs and kind of, they've not that they had their backs against the wall against Detroit, but you had a tough series right there. And then with Boston, they kind of just dominated, right? Even up until the Tatum injury, they just really went out and played hard. So I think they really just need to go back to the drawing board, realize that they gave up game 1, which is a freebie for the Pacers. So you had that game, you had the game plan, you understood the assignment. Game 2 was a close game, and you just couldn't finish off the game in the fourth quarter, right? So if I'm them, I'm like, we're completely there every game, right? So it's not like it's any blowouts. It's obviously heartbreaking loss, stuff like that. So you just go game by game at this point. Got to go into game 3, pretend like it's your game 7, and then you got to get one game at a time, right? And if somehow if they won 2 on the road against you, you win 2 on the road against them, it's a 0-0 series at that point.
Oh yeah,
and it's game 5 in New York, right? And so that's a mentality that they have to kind of play with. But the momentum that Indiana has right now is something that almost always is a game changer, because it just like gives you so much confidence that you can beat pretty much anybody in this league. And I will say there is one stat: the Knicks, when they have fallen down 0-2 in the playoffs, they have not won a series in their history. So
yeah, and they're up 2-0 last year against Pacers and lost. So it's happened to them, and they haven't done it. And so I guess there's a first time for everything. Yeah. But Indiana, so they're in the same position last series. They lost game 3 to
Yeah.
Cleveland. So I don't know if that's better for the Knicks or Indiana because, obviously Indiana doesn't want to have that slip up again. And so, but, and it's just funny how like Knicks against Boston, they pulled off 2 games where Boston probably felt like, man, we should have had those 2 games. Right. And so, game 1, obviously was more so that than game 2. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think in my opinion, it'll be, Indiana in 4 or 6, one of the 2.
Yeah.
But if you can get it to like that 6th game, it's like, hey, anything could happen. But obviously we know that game 3 is going to be crucial because if they go down 3-0, when I say win one of those 2, I mean make that one be game 3 is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Otherwise, that broom will be official.
Oh yeah, I'll have it out again
for the Knicks. Yeah. All right, so let's get into a little preview of tomorrow's game, game 3, which is a huge one as well. So now we got 2 series that are now 2-0. Are we already calling the?
Here, or should I?
Okay. Are we already calling the Midwest Finals at this point? OKC versus Indiana.
It can't be 2 sweeps. Can't be 2 sweeps.
I mean, God, and the Knicks Pacers series is just so competitive. It's so much fun to watch. It's like you want to see that go as far as possible. But overall, we talked about Minnesota and kind of what possibly they need to do to kind of win game 3. Do you think they make a change in their lineup and just try to say, hey, we got to go all out and try to win game 3?
Man, I was looking on Twitter, commenting on some posts, and some Minnesota, fans, they were, talking about the plus minus with, the 2 that we talked about last night with Gobert and Conley. And I was like, fine, just stick with your same lineup and see what happens. Right. And so I don't know if we'll end up seeing a change. I hope it doesn't happen after being down 3-0. Right. I hope if they're going to make it now. Yeah. But, I think for Minnesota, if there was a game they're going to get, game 3, you got to ride that crowd. Maybe we're going to have like a Anthony Edwards, performance, one for the ages.
Sure.
Drops 45. Maybe they're just extremely hot from 3-point line, but they are going to need to ride that crowd. They're going to have to figure out ways to score early and easier, whether that be, kind of creating turnovers on defense, obviously maybe, hitting the open threes. So, I see it being a rocking crowd and something like that can really get you through like the first quarter of the game. And if you can kind of extend a pretty large lead, it could really take you a long way. And so that's what I'm looking for. I want to see if Minnesota can get out to that hot start. And then not only get out to the hot start, because they've been pretty good the first halves, see if they could sustain that. Yeah.
I need Anthony Edwards to have a statement game.
Yeah.
And it needs to be like where the one thing I haven't seen from Ant this series, and what to me is been different than what he's done in the playoffs, is him talking trash, man. Like he doesn't seem like whether it's because he knows maybe they're just not the better team, right? Like he maybe senses that, but usually he's out there just like in people's faces and maybe dunk on somebody. When he makes the threes, kind of pointing at people. I mean, he tried and in the beginning of the first quarter, right, when he threw the ball at Shea and got a tee, right? So, I thought that was a little childish of him, obviously, to kind of do that and think he was going to get away with it or whatnot. But I need a little bit more.
He was just trying to kind of pick up his team, I think, Yeah,
and I need a little bit more of Anthony Edwards. I need that same old character that he's been, which motivates his team and he gets his team going. And if they don't get that, and he's just kind of like, I mean, he's been awful at the 3-point shot right now. And if he's just shooting threes and not really getting to the basket and not trying to make any acrobatic plays and things like that, I don't think they have a chance if he's not going out there and getting 40 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Minnesota, what's going to get the crowd going is him hitting the paint, hitting the lane, hopefully dunking on, a guy or two. And that's when we know he's cooking, because when he's dancing and, he's got that inside outside game going, and it helps his actually 3-point shot, because, the defenders are a little bit on their heels because they're worried he's going to fly by them. There's just those games that like they're all the adjustments out. Just go and get a game for us, and they're going to probably need that, I think, tomorrow. And hopefully we see it. He's going to need some other contributions. Some of those others tend to play better at home, so I could see your DiVincenzo's and your Nas Reeds of the world playing better as well. Hopefully for their sake, because hey, OKC had a hell of a series against Denver, but right now they got to be feeling good. They're kind of doing whatever they want out there. And so they're like, hey, we smell blood. We don't want to give any hope to this team at all. And so, it'll be interesting to see how that game starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I would like to see and Nickeil Alexander kind of inserted in the starting lineup for Mike Conley. I just feel like they could use his length as well, and his athletic ability, and just his ability to just switch anything on defense, and kind of create that, like what we're trying to like speed Shea up a little bit, kind of get under his skin a little bit as well. I just think at this point, I don't know how much Mike Conley can actually give you as a team. And I think just bringing like a spark plug or somebody like that, all right, he can hit shots, he can get to the basket, he can defend, right? And just bring in a little bit more energy. I think I can see that possibly if they were to go to something. We've talked about Rudy Gobert and what he's not doing in the series, but obviously he can be a defensive presence and things like that. So I don't know about going to Nas Reed or not and bringing Rudy off the bench. I don't know if that necessarily motivates Rudy, right? I know Mike Conley is a veteran, and he's like, he knows he's well late in his career, right? So I don't think it would be a move where he would be like, oh yeah, I'll come off the bench. It's not a big deal. If that's a benefit of the team to kind of create some sort of spark in the first quarter and also those third quarters when they come out.
Yeah, I think they would want to still get Gobert his like normal minutes he's been getting, and him coming off the bench might be kind of a little off. They'll probably want him in there to clog the paint and do what he does. Just hope that they get some kind of more productivity from him. And yeah, like we talked about, like, causing havoc on defense to create transition to get easier baskets. That might be something that Alexander Walker can provide. But yeah, I mean, we'll be on the lookout to see what that starting lineup is going to be tomorrow. Just because it's sometimes you just got to tweak something and hope that you can throw something against a wall and hope that it sticks. And he's played some good minutes. He's been pretty good game too. And so we'll see what they end up doing. Yeah,
for sure. Looking forward to it. Right. So we'll see what happens if we can kind of get some games in these series on the other side, so we don't get any sweeps like Eric has a broom over there in his background that he keeps bringing out. So any other thoughts on tonight or the future games?
Other than, Knicks had to get it. We said they had to get it, and it's going to be tough for them to move on, and but they just got to worry about game 3. And then from a Minnesota standpoint, you're at home, got to take advantage of that crowd. You've been playing pretty well at home in the playoffs and during the regular season. And so, I mean, just superstars got to come out and play, and then this has to be an Anthony Edwards game.
That's for sure. All right. So as always, everybody, we'll be uploading the pod. We'll get that to you shortly. Sure. But as we always do, the Hoops Rehab team is out, and have a good weekend. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Good weekend.